laboratory faucet, in this particular instance, we're talking about a widespread laboratory faucet. Water is brought into the house from pipes outside. One line leading to, say, like a hot water heater, another line just cold water coming in. This water is conveyed up to, in this particular case, a hot and cold valve, which in turn is brought up to a spout. The T connection connecting the hot and cold water to the spout. Inside the valve we have two different chambers. One chamber leads up to a valve. The valve controls the water. When the valve is opened, it allows water from one chamber to another chamber. The outside chamber feeds the tea into the spout. In many cases, the spout also has two different chambers. One chamber being a tube allowing the pop-up rod to go through the outer chamber. The outer chamber is filled with water when the valve is activated. In this particular case, that is not necessary because the pop-up rod is going behind the chamber of the tea. Another type of faucet, center set faucet. It's a center set, 4-inch center set faucet because they are drilled this way. Again, we have the same situation, that water is coming from hot and cold, but in this particular case, the water is mixed in the body above. It's a solid body. Water comes out the spout. This being another case of a 4-inch, only this particular one is more unique in design, that it has, like the widespread faucet, separate hot and cold. Again, we have a T connection with hoses leading to that particular T. Again, we don't need this separate tube going down the spout because the pop-up is done behind. The next group of faucets is the single hole faucet. This is basically of European design, and because the manufacturers taking over the market are European, this has become more and more popular. The single hole faucet has like two different types. They have the single control and they have the dual control. They are supplied by a hot and a cold supply line. They mix in the body itself. These lines often are metric because it is European, so adapters may need to be used. On the dual control, we have water coming up to a hot and a cold valve. Once it's activated, it's mixed in the body itself and out the spout. In a single control, we again have hot and cold lines coming up. Water's brought up to the body to a single cartridge. This single cartridge has 3 holes in it. Once it's activated, water is supplied. Left or right will give us hot or cold, opening up the 2 ports in the cartridge itself, and then mixing in the body and out the spout. These 2 particular ones have the solid lines. Now there are also flexible lines available on many models. On the flexible lines, you'll often find a hard tube down below, which offers either the metric or the inch line. These particular lines are 10 millimeter, whereas most of our American lines or 3/8. There are various types of faucets that are less common on the market. The single basin tap being one of the least common these days. It's probably the grandfather of all faucets. It has a hot, separate cold. Water comes out, comes in, just like most faucets. But in this particular case, what you would have to do is mix the water in the bowl itself. We also have a faucet that is becoming more and more common, even though it's an older style, which is a bridge faucet. A bridge faucet is much like the center set. We have hot and cold feeding up to a solid body above. In this particular case, the body, as is said, is like a bridge, where you have your hot and your cold tower coming up, a pipe leading across to the spout. With the advent of vessel bowls or freestanding bowls, one of the more common units that is being used for that is a wall-mounted faucet, where this particular unit, the valves themselves are hidden behind the wall along with the mixing. The widespread faucet is probably the most popular of that group. It has many designs, such as classical, or what we would call formal, we have a more traditional style, which a lot of people would refer to as colonial in look. We have contemporary, which this would probably be referred to as contemporary. And we also have, say, like a neoclassical look, which something like this, being with its fluted type of spout, fluted handles, would be referred to as neoclassical. When we were speaking about lavatory sets, spread sets in specific, we said that there was tube running down to protect the integrity of the pop-up rod. The pop-up rod sliding through this tube, through a chamber, the chamber being charged with water when the faucet is on. The pop-up assembly, which comes with most lavatory faucets, this being the pop-up rod, attaches to the pop-up itself. This, in most lavatories, having an overflow, has little holes in it to allow water that, if this sink overflows, to flow through these holes back into the drain itself. Again, we've got a chamber here that water flows through when the sink is filled so high. Now, a pop-up assembly, the rod comes down, connects to a ball rod. The ball rod is connected to the pop-up itself and allows you to control either opening or closing from above. This particular drain is an 1.25 inch pop-up drain assembly, which most are, and that connects to a P-trap, which the P-trap goes back to the wall, to the floor in some cases, allowing for the drainage of the sink.